Ladies, gentlemen, it's getting a little sad at this point how we still don't have a name for this series. It started out with Twicod this week in Call of Duty, then we went to last week in Call of Duty, Wicod. Still doesn't have a good ring to it. Then I went to sometime in Call of Duty, Saint COD. That one's got a little bit of a ring to it, but it's pretty sad that we still don't have a good name for this series. But what is a good thing is that this week we have a ton of Call of Duty news that we have to go over. Starting out, we have Call of Duty news for 2021. The new game was officially announced that it is going to be coming out this year, and in this video we're going to go over everything that we know about this title so far. On top of that, we also have something new coming to seemingly Black Ops Cold War and Warzone, which is actually Rambo. No, you didn't hear me wrong, Rambo. It seems like there's going to be some like 80 themed movies event potentially coming. We'll talk about that a little bit more. And then to start things out today, just literally right today, we got a big weapons update for Warzone. So a bunch of weapons were changed. We're going to start with that, move into World War II, and then end the video with Rambo. Let's dive into it. So this is actually a pretty big Warzone update meta-wise. It changes up some of the best weapons in the game. It changes up some ground loot, and it's going to change the way the game is played by a quite substantial margin. First of all, if you were playing the game, you'll know that the street sweeper was pretty annoying because it was found all over the ground, and essentially everyone was using it in the early game, and it got a little annoying. So what did they do? They completely removed it from ground loot, which is awesome to see. They did replace it with the Howler 77 as well, which isn't nearly as annoying and was previously in ground loot, so I think that'll make that situation a little bit better. After this, moving into the weapon buffs and nerfs. So 3 weapons were nerfed, 1 was changed, and 1 was buffed. Starting out with the nerfs, we have the CR56 AMAX. So with these changes, they were very clearly not trying to nerf them into the ground, but rather make them more balanced, which is going to be interesting to see if it's enough. So with the AMAX, they have the minimum damage decreased from 32 to 31. This is specifically for those long-range gunfights and reducing that time to kill just a little bit. Is it going to be enough? I don't really know. After that, though, we have the FARA 83. This one, the headshot multiplier is decreased from 1.5 to 1.35, and the base ADS move speed was decreased by 7%. I think they're doing this because 1, it was a little bit too mobile up close against SMGs, and then 2, the headshot damage was just melting people a little bit too quickly. Again, the thing I do like about this weapon is it has very low recoil and you can still use it up close, but now you're going to tend to see more people using, I think, SMGs up close as opposed to the FARA. And speaking of up close, the next weapon that got nerfed is the Street Sweeper. The base hip spread increased, so it's a wider hip spread, recoil slightly increased, and aim down sight speed reduced slightly. So this one was kind of like switching to be the up close meta, and with it they just nerfed it so that it would not be, because people get really annoyed by shotguns. Now the most interesting one is the Bullfrog. So what they did to this is the max damage decreased from 34 to 32, so a slight TTK nerf right up close. The maximum damage range was increased by 11%, the base move speed increased by 1%, and the sprint out speed increased by 13%. This just totally changes the weapon. It makes it so it's a little bit better at long range and has like really good sprint out time. So I don't exactly know where this is going to fall. I think overall this makes it a little bit better, but I'm not 100% sure about that. And then finally, a little bit of a buff to the PPSH 41. So the maximum damage range increased by 4% and the open bolt delay decreased by 80%. I don't know what open bolt delay is. If you have any ideas, let me know down in the comments because they don't explain it in the patch notes. Now, basically what they are doing here is with this meta, they are very clearly trying to push it towards a more SMG heavy meta. Hence why we see the AMAX getting nerfed, and hence why we see the FARA getting nerfed. They want SMGs to be the guns people use up close, assault rifles at mid-range, and snipers at long range. That's seemingly what they are trying to do here, which makes a lot of sense, and I think this is going to do it in a pretty good way. That being said, I still think the AMAX is going to be really good even at long range still. And finally, attachments. I'm not going to read through all of these, but you can pause the screen here, or I will link the patch notes down below. Some of these are specifically for classes of weapons like snipers, assault rifles, SMGs. Some are for specific weapons like the axial arms 3 times on the AK-47, but you can pause it and check them out if you really want to. Call of Duty 2021 has officially been confirmed this week by Activision and by Sledgehammer Games. Just like death, just like taxes, releases a Call of Duty every single year is absolutely inevitable. And we actually have a little bit more information about this Call of Duty title than we previously did. So we now know that it is going to be developed by Sledgehammer Games. They announced that in an investors call, and since then a bunch of Sledgehammer employees have been coming out and saying that yes, they have been working on this game and they are excited for it to come out. We don't currently have a working title, so the codename Call of Duty World War II Vanguard is still what we are going to be going with at this point. We do have some more information, however. First of all, this game is going to be built for next-gen consoles and of course PC, and then ported back to the previous consoles like PS4 and Xbox One. We've seen this before with previous games. For example, Black Ops 3 was made for those consoles and then ported back to like PS3 and that kind of stuff. And of course, it looks way worse. It doesn't run as well on the older consoles. So if you're going to be getting a new console for a Call of Duty game, this coming up year is probably the time to start looking into it. Now, we also know that they are working on a campaign, multiplayer mode, and a co-op mode. So campaign, I really liked the last World War II campaign. It'll be interesting to see if they bring back some of those characters like Red Daniels. On top of this, multiplayer, that's inevitable. We knew that was coming. And then finally co-op, which will probably be some form of zombies like they did with their previous game in World War II. After this, we also know that it is going to be integrated with Warzone. So this is going to be the interesting part, because if they're going back to World War II and currently we're in a flashback of 1984, are they going to take Verdansk and go back to then, or are they going to change the map altogether? It's going to be really curious to see what actually happens when that is released. They also announced that it is going to be a fall release, so my best bet is sometime in early November, early to mid-November, around that time. November, probably 10th to 15th would be my best guess. And then finally, the reveal is going to be happening, in quotation marks, soon. So that could be in a month, it could be in a month and a half, it could be in the middle of summer. I don't know, but they said soon, so I don't think we're gonna have to wait till like August, September, like we did with Black Ops Cold War. That is all of the information we currently have about Call of Duty 2021. Time for the fun part, speculation. So as far as this goes, this is a really interesting announcement at this point, because the last thing that we heard via leaks is that this game was not prepared to be launched or in any playable state really whatsoever. Now again, that was a leak, so we can't trust everything that we hear there. So it's almost as if they are announcing this at this point to say, no, listen, we have a Call of Duty game coming out this year, and we're going to show it to you soon to prove that it is in a good state. It'll be really interesting to see what comes of this, but for that, only time will tell. Rambo. Whether you've seen the movies or not, you probably know who Rambo is. So as far as what is going on with this, a couple of days ago, Call of Duty tweeted a Warzone report for someone by the name of Survivor John. This is referring to John James Rambo, or Rambo from the Rambo movies. And with this, there's a couple of interesting details. First of all, 552 kills are the total amount of kills Rambo got in the 5 different movies. Speaking of which, he has 5 games, 5 wins for the 5 movies. And finally, 7 hours is approximately the entire runtime of all 5 movies. So clearly tipping us off to Rambo, but that's not where it ended. Call of Duty unfollowed everyone who they were following and just followed 8 people. All 8 people had the last name Trotman. This is actually another Rambo character by the name of Colonel Samuel Trotman, who is in the Rambo universe, of course. So the question is where is this going? And as of right now, it's kind of hard to say. Basically, right now, they are just teasing Rambo stuff. And there's a couple of theories. First of all, one theory is that this is going to be a new event going on potentially at the mid-season of Season 3, and it will revolve around 80s movie characters, because Warzone is in the 80s now, Black Ops Cold War is in the 80s, obviously Rambo took place in the 80s. So one idea is that this is going to be a Rambo themed event. Another idea is that they're going to bring in some other characters as well. But what I will say is if they bring in Sylvester Stallone to voice a operator that is Rambo, just take my money now. You'll just take it. You can have it now. Just give me the character when it comes out. That'll be so cool. Whether they do that or not, I don't know, but it appears to be that is what they are teasing. And if you really do want my money and you're doing this like 80 themed movie thing, kind of like you did The Haunting of Verdansk with some movies in that, I think it'd be really, really cool if they did the Terminator, but we'll have to wait and see, especially if it's voiced by Arnold. I think what's more realistic is that these will probably be skins for characters. Like there'll be a Rambo skin for, say, Adler, and then it'll be voiced by Bruce Thomas. I think that's a little bit more likely, but we'll have to wait and see. But for now, that's all we have. Things should start to heat up probably next week or the week after. We might get some teasers for World War II. We'll definitely be getting some more teasers for whatever this Rambo event is. And of course, as it happens, I will keep you guys updated. So make sure you subscribe to the channel, have notifications turned on. If you enjoyed this video, always appreciate it if you hit that like button. Let me know what you think down in the comments. And as always, thank you so much for watching. And until next time, peace out.
We are reaching for the stars, but we're making